What a hectic day this is going to be. Podcasting, packing suitcases, and getting ready to travel away again. It's going to be another one of those weeks. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Army podcast for another week. Hope you're all doing well out there. Welcome back to the show for another week. I think we're on episode 8 or episode 7, I can't even remember what episode we're on now. It's been one of those days. Anyway, welcome back to the Army podcast for another week. Welcome to this Tuesday's edition of the Family Friendly podcast. Yes, welcome back once again. Hope you're all doing well out there. Before we continue on, I want to obviously say a big thank you to everybody who's been in touch over this last 4 or 5 days since the last Unleashed podcast last Thursday. The amount of emails and messages I've received again about myself, obviously with my recent wee sort of health scare I had recently, and also the podcast I done last week in dedication in memory of my friend Frankie Wilson, who I unfortunately passed away there. It'll be two weeks this Friday actually he passed away. But yeah, the amount of messages I've received over this past week has just been unbelievable. Even been contacted by members of his family, his cousins, etc., saying they love the podcast. So a big thank you to everybody who's been contacting me over the last lot of days. It really does mean a lot. Not just to myself, obviously, for people who are sharing their memories with me. And, you know, I've been speaking to people who knew him very, very well. Even his younger daughter sent me a message the other day as well, thanking me for the podcast. So I just want to give a big shout out to everybody out there who's been contacting me over the last few days in relation to that. And also in relation to myself, obviously, with my recent sort of little scare I had recently at the hospital and whatnot. So, guys, it means a lot to me. I'll give you an update in just a wee second. Before I go any further in the podcast, as always, guys, you know, I like to do the thing here at the start where I like to call the housekeeping, where I like to get all the things out there, how you can contact us, etc. And how you can do that as follows. If you're new to the Moore Army podcast, you can contact us by the following methods. First of all, you can contact us via email, which is the best way to contact us here in the podcast. MooreArmyPodcast@yahoo.com. Also, you want to get in touch with us on social media. You can contact myself on social media at official Matthew Moore on Instagram. Or if you want to be part of the Moore Army on Facebook, you can go to the Moore Army YouTube channel Facebook page and drop a like on that page as well. Really would appreciate that. And also the main place where you can get all your bits and bobs, or basically the Moore Army hub, where you can get all your merchandise from the Moore Army YouTube channel, the Red Football Adventures channel, Lewis's gaming t-shirts as well are available now as well to buy, and also the Moore Army podcast t-shirts as well. Check out all the videos from all our channels, check out all our social media photographs, pictures and more. Basically a Moore Army hub, as I said to you. It's moorearmy.co.uk. That's moorearmy.co.uk, where you can get in touch with us there as well. So, yes, guys, and also, I promised them last night, I'd give them a shout out, Lewis's gaming channel, Lewis Moore on YouTube, and also check out the Moore Army YouTube channel too as well, and Redmen Football Adventures, subscribe to the channel, guys. And if you're listening to us here on YouTube for the first time, don't forget to hit subscribe as well on this YouTube channel as well. Anyway, yes, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news for you this week, guys, on the podcast. Last Thursday's podcast, as you all know, was supposed to be the cost of living crisis interviews, which I conducted there about 10, 12 days ago. I've got a little bit of bad news about that. I've also got an update on my health as well. And also, yes, Lewis and I are on our travels tomorrow. We're on our way to Liverpool once again. So we will be in the great state of Merseyside tomorrow till Thursday. So we'll be back in time to hopefully record the Thursday's Unleashed podcast. And we will try and enjoy myself as much as I can over there as possible. Back to Liverpool once again, back to Anfield. I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, yes, let's get into the main stories, guys. Cut a long story short, I was going through some of my emails and whatnot in relation to the show. I was just looking through them and messages, etc. Obviously, prepare myself for the podcast last Thursday, and then obviously I got the bad news about Frankie passing away, etc. So I decided to change all that and make the podcast dedicated to him. And obviously then with my wee health scare, there was no podcast last Tuesday, as you all know. basically, bottom line is, guys, just as I was about to release these interviews, which I have 4 or 5 great interviews that I was about to release, to cut a long story short, I did say to you about 2 weeks ago, I was given permission from the people who actually run a local shopping centre, mall, whatever you want to call it, here in Bangor. I obviously was under the impression I was given permission to go and speak to the general public in the mall, and obviously going to speak to people in shops, etc., about the cost of living crisis, which a lot of you are still getting in touch with me about to this day, telling me all your stories about how you're struggling, about the prices of gas, electric, petrol for your car, diesel for your car, etc., etc. A lot of these are contacting me as well about these recent videos been popping up on social media as well about all these oil protesters and whatnot, which honestly, for what I've saw the last few days, just if this had been the Unleashed podcast today, guys, I basically would have blew up on the podcast. It's just some of the things I've saw over the last few days has really made my teeth itch. So it has. But anyway, cut a long story short, I was about to release these on the either the Tuesday or the Thursday podcast, whatever one it was supposed to do it last week. I can't even remember now. And then I got an email from the actual people who run the centre, which I was under the impression I was given permission from the proper people who run the place, that I've been told that I was not given proper permission from the high authorities, and I was told not to release those interviews because I had to get proper written authority, which is a bit head scratching considering I see people on malls and shopping centres all the time asking people, stopping customers, asking them questions about different things, and you see all these people on like YouTube, TikTok and whatever else doing funny videos and stuff like that. And I even interview people outside a big chain store, which I'm not going to mention their name because I don't want to obviously get myself sued. But apparently one of their managers was not happy with me being there, and when I was standing on the mall, as I said, they have 4 or 5 interviews here, and I got an email from what I assume is the manager or the owner or whatever, saying that I wasn't given proper permission to go there, even though I contacted them and I got a contact, and I spoke to them by telephone as well, and they gave me permission to go ahead and do it. Yep, no problem at all, as long as you don't, harass people and be antisocial, and we don't mind, as long as it's obviously for a local podcast and stuff like that there, it's absolutely fine. You work away. If the shops allow you inside, that's absolutely fine. Some of the bigger chains might not let you inside because they have obviously all their rule books and stuff like that, which is completely understandable because every employer has their own handbook of rules and regulations and whatnot. I mean, myself, obviously working in retail for years, we had certain rules and regulations in relation to obviously journalism and how you come across as an employee towards the general public, and obviously your rules of your employment and things like that there. But speaking to them and giving me permission to go ahead and do that, it obviously went along, and I was done the interviews and stuff like that. And just as I was about to release the interviews, and it's kind of weird though, because obviously I didn't release a podcast last Tuesday. I done last Thursday's one, which was completely different. Just flicking through the emails on the Wednesday, because the Thursday podcast was supposed to be for obviously that. Then I came across the email because obviously when I spoke to them and asked for permission, I gave them a contact phone number, an email, etc., and they sent me an email saying the proper authorities have not given you the permission to release those interviews, etc. Which is kind of head scratching. I mean, could I just go ahead and do that anyway? I don't know. But because there's a lot of big name chain stores in there as well, and I done 2 interviews outside one, and one of their managers wasn't, because, for example, I actually went into the store and asked one of the managers, could I stand inside the store and interview people in the store? One of the guys said he wasn't too sure, and then one of the managers came out to me and said to me, no, listen, we have rules. You have to write to head office to get permission to stand in our store because you're a journalist, blah, 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 which I completely understood. And he said to me, you can stand outside the shop. As long as you don't come inside the store, we're happy enough, which I thought was great. And I stopped 2 couples, and one of the stories was actually the best story I was going to release here on the podcast. But then I'm going home and I'm doing all the editing for the podcast and doing all the editing for the interviews and stuff like that there, because some people did drop a wee occasional bad word here, and obviously saying they were a little bit cheesed off with the government, etc., with the whole cost of living crisis. And literally as I was going through the emails there before I dropped last Thursday's podcast, there it was saying, please do not release these. The store manager, this is a store manager, but then I was assuming that I was speaking, so it was either an assistant manager I was speaking to or someone in charge, a supervisor, and they said, you can do whatever you can, blah, 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 blah. Because I know there's all these red tape BS now where you have to get permission to do certain things now, and the ring's different compared to like 25 years ago, for example, where you just turned up as a journalist and you started asking questions and all. And I know because I've done events in shopping malls and stuff like that there. For example, the old flagship centre in Bangor years ago, when I was running a wrestling company, we wanted to do a fundraising thing for children in need, where we wanted to do a wee wrestling display on in the mall on a busy Saturday afternoon, which was going to obviously raise money for children in need, help promote the mall, and most importantly, get our wrestling company some exposure as well to the local community, which worked out brilliantly because we had a show 2 weeks later and the show was sold out. So it was basically a win-win, but we had to get permission from, first of all, we had to contact the BBC to get permission because we were raising money for children in need. We also had to get permission from the management of the mall, the people who owned the place, not there. But that's why I called them weeks in advance to ask the local shopping complex thing, could we get permission to go ahead and do this? And the person I spoke to on the phone was like, yes, no problem, but if you want to go into any of the stores, you must get permission from any of the stores, because at the end of the day, everybody has their own rules, especially the bigger chains, the big name stores, should we say, which obviously I went into one of them and they said we couldn't do it, so I had to stand outside. But I was staying in the mall area, but now that the manager or whoever it is now contacted me and said to me that I cannot release those interviews now because I wasn't given the proper permission. So that kind of sucks, to be honest, because I had some really great interviews. And for anybody who's tuned into the podcast who's wanting to listen back to their interview, I do apologise. Now, the thing is, if you want to contact me, I can forward the interviews to you. So what I'm going to do is, guys, obviously I'm going to try and get some other situation organised where I can try and maybe get an interview for the podcast, because at the end of the day, I have promised you content. And I'm not saying this to try and cover tracks and BS you and say, oh, and then some people might say, oh, well, did he actually really do the interviews? Yeah, I did actually do the interviews, because I do interviews, as you all probably know, in football and I worked in radio for years, so I know what I'm doing, I know where to go. But again, when you go into places like that, and especially nowadays with all the red tape you have to go through and all the BS and all the nonsense, at the end of the day, I'm a little bit cheesed off with the facility nearby who give me the impression, first of all, that I was allowed to have permission to go into the mall and etc., and then now being told that I can't release the interviews. So it's a bit of a nightmare. So I just thought I'd clear that up for you today and let you know what the situation is, because at the end of the day, guys, I do promise you content for the channel, or for the channel, for the podcast, and I want to obviously get it out to you as well, because this whole cost of living crisis is a major thing going on in the world right now, and I do want to cover it because a lot of you have contacted me via email, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Tell me your experiences of it and tell me how this has changed your life and how it's affected your life. And I wanted to obviously try and keep the audience more involved in this podcast, because at the end of the day, this podcast is for you. I enjoy sitting down, 2-3 hours a week talking absolute crap. I enjoy it because I just love to talk, and I love to talk to people, and I love meeting new people, and at the end of the day, this podcast is for you guys. So this one I wanted to clear that matter up today, because some of you have been asking me where's these interviews, and that's the reason why. So I apologise. I know I shouldn't really apologise because it's not really my fault technically, but at the end of the day, you're my followers, you're my listeners, whether you follow me on YouTube for the YouTube channel, whether you follow me for the football videos we do with Lewis and I, or you follow Lewis's channel, or you follow whatever, or you just follow me on social media for the hell of it. At the end of the day, I have a loyal following, and I want to obviously be honest with you guys and upfront, as I've always been, even though there's some people out there say that I talk a lot of crap and I'm lying through my teeth every day, which I still laugh at them people to this day, but that's another story for another day. At the end of the day, I'm trying to create content to make this podcast as best as it can be. So I just thought I'd be honest with you guys. So I'll keep on it. I'll try and, I've a couple of ideas which I'm going to try and do, and I'm going to try and get on the ball with that there as quick as and obviously get another couple of interviews maybe to you as quick as I can. So I just thought I'd clear that up for you today here to start the podcast. Anyway, moving on. Bit of a health update for myself this week, because a lot of you have been asking me how I'm doing. Guys, I'm doing okay. I'm not too bad. I'm still a little bit achy here and there. I'm okay. I'm not too bad. I'm sort of hanging in there. Still a bit sore now and again. I went to the doctors on Monday, and they done another check over for me, and they have said to me everything's looking okay. So fingers crossed. I'm fully on the mend now. And obviously I want to give obviously a thank you to everybody who's been contacting me, especially a good friend of mine who's been contacting me recently. I know he listens to the podcast. My friend Mark from Bangor here. He's contacted me a couple of times over the last week or so since I had the incident, and I want to obviously say personally thank you to him because he's been so cool. He messages me every so often just to see how I'm doing and stuff, and I haven't seen Mark for quite a while actually, but I'd like to get a catch up with him sometime soon over a glass of whiskey or two, or maybe a beer or so like that there, because I know he likes his whiskey. So Mark, if you're listening, I do appreciate it, but thanks for your messages and obviously and trying to give me some advice as well, so I do appreciate it. But yeah, guys, I'm on the mend. I'm doing okay. I'm not too bad. I'm hanging in there, so I am. What have I been up to the last couple of days, guys? Well, as you've probably seen, well, no, it's uploading right now as we speak, actually, because my laptop's sitting across from me here. Last Saturday, Lewis and I were in Warren Point. I haven't been to Warren Point for quite a while, actually, since before COVID. Lewis and I were on our travels last Saturday to Warren Point. What a beautiful part of the world. Some scenery heading down there. We were down there with the football team at the weekend. Unfortunately, we lost 3-2. As I record this podcast here on Tuesday morning, we're off to Ballyclare tonight, so we're on our travels again, and then tomorrow morning we're away early to Liverpool. So Lewis and I, and we're just constantly on the travels this week, guys. So we're going to try and get a load of vlogs done this week, because we haven't done very many vlogs last week because obviously I've been resting up and stuff and trying to do other things too as well. But yeah, we were in Warren Point on Saturday. Beautiful sunny day it was. We went down to Warren Point. I was expecting a rainy day because the night before it was like torrential rain, but we woke up on Saturday morning, the skies were blue, thinking, right, here we go. Nice day trip down to the Warren Point. Bit of a long hike to get down there. We didn't stop off anywhere this time like we normally do with the football team to get something to eat, whatever. So we left a little bit later than normal. We arrived in Warren Point around about 1:15, 1:30. Beautiful day down in Warren Point, and lovely people. Thanks for them for their hospitality towards ourselves, myself and Lewis, and obviously the football team too as well. Great people down there. Met a couple of fans, funny enough, Warren Point of all places, people who watch our channel. I met a couple of people down there before. I do recall meeting a young lad who watches our channel who's in a wheelchair. I saw him from the distance on Saturday. I forgot his name, I completely forgot his name, but he was there on Saturday, and I was trying to make a point to go over and see him, but I kept getting called away. But Warren Point, great place, just past Newry, near the border here in Northern Ireland. It's a beautiful wee town. Even when we're driving through the town to get to the ground. I recall being down there a few years ago when I was there with Bangor one time. There's a great couple of wee coffee shops down there as well. Do really, really good coffee, and the people in Warren Point are very, very friendly. So they are. I had a great trip down there. You probably saw some of the videos I posted on Instagram. Lewis was doing his goalkeeping training with the goalkeepers before the match. But yeah, no, it was a good trip. Unfortunately, we lost the game, but it was a good trip and thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, obviously they were up at our place a few weeks ago. Now we were back down at their place again. So, but yeah, it's a great wee club. Unfortunately, they dropped out of the Premier League last year, and they're back in our league in the Championship. And you know, they're always been a good, strong outfit, Warren Point. But anytime I've ever been down there, they've always been very welcoming and very complimentary towards my work I do for the Irish League, obviously the football videos and the interviews and whatever else. So, yeah, they are a great wee club. And they also built, I noticed as well, a new wee sort of like bar stroke little clubhouse thing they've built. They used to have an older one in the old part of the ground, but they built this new one, and it actually looks really, really cool on the inside. I went in there before the game to get myself a bottle of Coke and have a chat with some of the boys from our club and committee and stuff beforehand, and went inside and had a wee look around. Great. I was going to do a video for the Irish League football series, but I never got a chance, guys, because once I was down there, it was just constant. But great place, great people. I actually wouldn't mind going down to Warren Point sometime properly and spend a whole day down there and in the wee town and all the wee shops and stuff. I know it's not a big place, but I've always heard nice things, and the scenery down in Warren Point is absolutely stunning. Heading into Warren Point, the view of the mountains and the scenery and the views are just phenomenal down there, so they are. So check out my vlog, guys. You'll see some clips and scenery. You'll also see Lewis and I down there as well. It's on the Moore Army YouTube channel. Don't forget to check it out. It was a great wee trip. Speaking of travelling, we're on our travels tonight again. We're on a road to Ballyclare. I'm looking forward to going to Ballyclare, because Ballyclare is always a great wee club to go and visit. They're always very kind and generous to me every time. I've been going to Ballyclare for years now, working in the Irish League. And I'm hoping to run into a friend of mine who's also part of the media team for Ballyclare, Zoe, you call her. She's a great girl, so she has something looking forward to hopefully running into her tonight as well, and catching up with her and have a wee chat with her. I haven't spoken to her for quite a while, actually. She's part of the Ballyclare media team, so yeah, we're looking forward to getting into Ballyclare tonight. Now here's the thing, guys, Lewis is on a half day today, and so is Brick, because of some teacher, I don't know, training day, whatever it is. In fact, as I record this podcast, they should be on their way home shortly. So they may actually arrive in the, no, obviously my luck, they'll probably come in when I'm recording the podcast. But yeah, Lewis, come home, we're going to get a quick shower and quick change, and then we're going to head straight to Belfast to get the bus to head to Ballyclare, because we're leaving Belfast at about 5 o'clock tonight, so we are. So yeah, we're heading to Ballyclare tonight for the game. Hopefully the boys can get a result, and then tomorrow morning, by the time we get back from Ballyclare, probably about 11 or 12 tonight, and then we'll head straight to bed, back up at 5 a.m. for showers and stuff to get ready to go to Liverpool tomorrow, because Lewis and myself are off to Liverpool tomorrow. We're off to the Liverpool versus Derby County game at Anfield. So I know of a lot of listeners from Liverpool over there, and a lot of viewers from Liverpool, so if you see us about, come and say hi. Most importantly, I don't think, as much as Lewis loves going to Anfield, and you know where I'm going with this conversation right now, Lewis is doing my absolute head in. If you watch my YouTube channel, guys, Lewis is obsessed with a little bakery in England called Pound Bakery, and he contacted them a few months ago asking them for a sponsorship for his gaming channel, and that said they don't do sponsors for YouTubers, etc. But what they sent them was, they sent them a free hoodie, they sent them vouchers, which you can't buy. They obviously, those hoodies you can't buy, they're staff hoodies only, so they sent him a Pound Bakery hoodie, which he's going to wear tomorrow, by the way. You know, all these different things that he's obsessed with the place, like he's absolutely obsessed. So yeah, he's absolutely obsessed with the place, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting over there, and you know, he gets to use his vouchers and everything else, and he has my head melted about Pound Bakery, so he does. He absolutely has my head completely melted. He wants to use these vouchers, but yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to getting over there again. We're over there for the football, but I think the most important thing is, I think he wants to get his Pound Bakery first before he gets to the football, because I did say to him, we're arriving pretty early in the morning, so we'll get checked into our apartment, throw our bags and stuff in, and then to the hotel or apartment, and then we'll head into town. Obviously, first port of call will be the usual spot, Pound Bakery. But yeah, he's on his way home from school at the minute here, and as I record this podcast, so if he does come in during this recording, I'll try and maybe bring him in for a minute to try and talk to him about Pound Bakery. But yeah, no, guys, we're up early in the morning after a trip to Ballyclare tonight, and we're heading to Liverpool first thing in the morning. Looking forward to getting over and seeing the boys play tomorrow night. And I don't think it'll be a full team play tomorrow night, but at the end of the day, you know yourself, guys, watching me for a couple of years now, you know I love the city and I love being around there, and I love just the camaraderie of the city, and it's a fantastic place to be, and I just love being in Liverpool. And most importantly, I get to go back to the place I love the most, and that's Anfield. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting over there and seeing the boys play tomorrow night, even though it's a League Cup game, but I'm still looking forward to getting over there. I just had to push the stop button there because I was just in the middle of talking to you there, and I heard my doorbell going. Him and his sisters just arrived home, Lewis and Brooke has just arrived home from school after their half day today. He looks a bit kerfuffled here. I've actually brought him into the room here to try and talk to me for 5 minutes before he heads off to get himself showered and ready for football tonight. Yes, I was just talking to people there, Lewis. We were heading to Liverpool tomorrow after our long trip to Ballyclare tonight. I was just saying there how obviously you're obsessed with Pound Bakery, and you're finally, after waiting for a while, to finally get to use your Pound Bakery vouchers. I'm sure you are going to be such a lovely little son and buy your dad a nice big hot sausage roll. No. What?
Every voucher's mine, not yours.
You're not even going to share your vouchers with your dad?
No.
He's having a laugh here, of course he will. He'll probably buy me a big sausage roll and bring it home. But here,
You think I'm lying?
no, I'm being serious. But in all seriousness, no. Are you looking forward to the trip tomorrow? I mean, obviously a bit of an early start after being in Ballyclare today.
I don't really care, to be honest.
You have a wee morning kip on the plane?
No,
we'll straight home tonight.
I can't sleep in planes anymore.
Well, after that time I filmed you on the vlog.
Yeah, I can't fall asleep on planes. You take pictures of me, it's weird.
Where were we coming back from the Liverpool game last season? And
Multiple times.
he fell asleep on the plane, guys, and I vlogged him sleeping because he fell asleep with his head cocked back with his mouth wide open. As the old saying goes, he was catching flies.
That's because I was wearing a mask and my mask fell down. That's unfair.
So you can't cover your face this time.
I'm gonna wear a mask on this plane just to fall asleep.
No, you're alright, thanks. But no, seriously, you're looking forward to getting back to Anfield in the morning?
Yeah, of course I am. Why wouldn't I?
But do you think they'll play a full team this morning? I don't think they probably will, no.
Probably not.
Big win at the weekend against Tottenham.
Yep.
Here's the thing. This clown here stole a copy of the footage from my live reaction video on my channel and put it on his own YouTube channel. Yeah. So I was just telling the guys at the start of the podcast as well about your gaming channels starting to get a little bit bigger now. Do you want to let everybody know what type of videos you've been doing recently? Because I know you've been doing quite a few different ones.
I don't know, I just feel like switching content up helps a lot with the channel. Like, it helps it grow more, like different audiences and all coming in, and like different people can watch the content, and like it gets it out there more as well, like vlogs and stuff like that. So that's just the odd occasion, and then like just stole your live reaction because I felt like it.
What sort of games are you playing at the minute on your channel?
COD, Fortnite, and mostly that's pretty much about it. I haven't really played very many other games lately.
Are you still playing FIFA, are you? Or you had many videos on FIFA at the minute?
Not very many. I've did like 1 or 2.
What do you think of the new Call of Duty game? I actually think it's very the story mode is really, really good. But have you not noticed as well this year the maps are a lot bigger?
Yeah. Do you know whenever you load in the one map, you're literally loading up just this map you load into, right? It takes so long to load into, but like you're literally loading up the whole new Warzone 2 map at the exact same time as you're loading up that one map.
What are you talking about?
Warzone 2.
I'm winding you up. No, it is a lot good. I mean, especially in
the only thing I don't like about it is just no slide cancelling, which annoys me.
The what, sorry?
Slide cancelling, you don't know what it is.
Okay, but no, the new Call of Duty game is very, very good, I must say. I've been playing the story mode recently as well, and I obviously play on a 4K TV, and the 4K graphics is just insane compared to like the old Call of Duties. I mean, I have every Call of Duty that's ever been made, and the very first one, like I've never showed you the first one, have I? The very on the PC, the original one.
PC, yeah, I've seen a guy play it every week.
Oh my god!
It's on Steam. You can buy it through Steam. You don't even need a good computer to play it. It's that.
One of my favourite ones was Call of Duty Modern 4.
Call of Duty Ghost.
Modern Warfare. Ghost was quite good.
Black Ops 3 was just jumping on walls and.
I hated that, running up walls.
I don't enjoy a game anymore if I get killed in the space of 2 seconds.
I like Call of Duty 2. It was quite good. World War 1. I think it was World War 2 maybe.
World War 2. That was actually the story mode, and that was apparently really, really good.
Oh, I have it still. We should actually. What we should do? We should replay it.
My mate was playing it last about a night or two ago.
On Xbox, was it?
No, PlayStation.
No, Call of Duty 2 was one of the best games ever. The storylines in it. Now the graphics weren't obviously great.
They were.
Back then.
It was 2019.
Not in Call of Duty 2. Call of Duty 2 was in the early 2000s. It was before you were born. Believe me, I still have the copy of it up in my game. I had it on Xbox 360.
Our Xbox 360s don't work,
but we can still get it somewhere else. Anyway, most importantly, are you looking forward to tomorrow though? Getting up bright and early and heading to the airport again?
Not heading to the airport, just going there. I wish I could just teleport there at a random time.
And obviously we're going to head out. Do we really have to go to Pound Bakery first thing?
Yeah.
See, guys, he's obsessed. I just thought I'd bring you in anyway and see how you're doing. So before you quickly go, I want to ask you something. I didn't get you on last week to talk about Frankie. Quickly before we go, your memories of Frankie, obviously you remember when you were a lot smaller, but recently you remember Frankie. I mean, you went to his funeral with me last week. What do you remember of Frankie, and obviously how he affected you?
Only like whenever I met him at those Northern Ireland games and then bringing me in the dressing room. That was mostly the only things I kind of remember at the moment. But do you know anything else like I should be remembering here?
Well, do you know what I should remember?
I don't know everything.
Just to say, that's all your recent memories of him. Well, just thought I'd bring you in anyway to speak to you before we go. But before you go and get ready before we go to football tonight, but I want to ask you quickly before you go. We talked about Frankie last week. We didn't get you or Brooke on. Obviously, Brooke has a lot of memories of Frankie too as well, because Frankie obviously knew Brooke when she was a bit older compared to you. You were like a wee tote back then. You only remember Frankie recently, and I've obviously showed you a lot of his his interviews over the years with me and stuff. What's your recent memories of Frankie and what he done for you? Because obviously you're a photographer now, and he was good to you recently. I mean, what was your memories of Frankie, recently?
Only recently, I think it was only whenever I was down like at the Northern Ireland games when I first met him. Was like when he brought me in the dressing room and all that, and then you took the picture of me and him, and then that's mostly what I only remember of from recently.
And then obviously you met him a couple of times as well over the years. You know, he was always dead nice to you, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, and what was it he said to you that time when, I mean, all the other photographers never had access like you did, because he brought you in, didn't he? And he brought you into the dressing room and all and told you to take photographs of the boys doing teen talks and stuff, didn't he? And what was that saying he said to you? Make it look what?
Just make it look natural. Don't like actually make it look like it's staged in a way.
Okay. But he was good to you at matches though, wasn't he? He treated you really, really well, and you're lucky though, because you have a photograph of him. I still can't find a picture of me and him together.
Yeah, you have multiple videos of him though.
I have hundreds of videos of him.
Just take a screenshot of one of you and him.
Here's the thing though, before you go, you went to his service last week with me. I mean, how many people turned up at that? I mean, the service he got was unbelievable, wasn't it?
It was crazy.
It was crazy. Many people.
How many thought this crowd was out to the hall?
It was right outside. There was, I don't know how many, hundreds and thousands at it.
Hundreds and thousands, but like probably about 1,000 maybe.
Maybe more. For what I was told, there was about 1,500 people at it.
That's actually a lot.
Just insane for Frankie. I mean, obviously he deserved it because he was obviously well known right across the whole, not even just football, everywhere else. School teaching, schools, GAA, football, everywhere, rugby, everybody knew him.
GAA?
It's Gaelic football.
Oh.
You don't know what GAA is, okay. But no, in all honesty though, Frankie was a great man, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was a great man. I'd love to get...
Not a bad word to say.
No, definitely not. I'd love to get Brooke on one time to obviously talk about Frankie, because he was just obviously really good to her. And obviously you met Ellie, his daughter. I remember talking to his daughter Ellie, who knew Brooke very, very well. She couldn't get over the size of you. She looked at you and went, what happened to you? So she's becoming a school teacher too.
All following his dad's footsteps, eh?
Exactly. Right, I'll let you get on there and go and get yourself showered and dressed and stuff like that. I'm going to continue on with the podcast here, guys.
Bye, guys.
So, what's that?
Bye, guys. Subscribe to me.
He's a way to get ready now. Right away, you get yourself out of the room. Come on. Close the door.
Link in the description.
Keep, I'm trying to keep the sound quality in there. Close the door. Good lad. Keep the echo away. But anyway, guys, yeah, that was just wanted to bring him in there quickly to talk to him. We're going to go and get ready here shortly for football and whatnot. But yeah, Lewis obviously wouldn't remember Frankie that much because, to be honest, he was really, really tiny whenever he first met him. But the way he treated him, as I said in last week's podcast, or last Thursday's podcast, sorry, the way he treated Lewis was unbelievable. But tomorrow's going to be an interesting trip to Liverpool, guys. So stay tuned for the vlogs on the channel. But yeah, it's going to be a good week. So it is. So I'm looking forward to getting the way back to Liverpool. What I'm going to do is, guys, I'm going to go through a couple of your wee messages that I have here. Got a couple of nice ones over the last week or so. I got a really nice one on Facebook here. Let's see if I can find it actually. There. It's from a guy called Matt Redford, or is it Redford or Reford? Reford. He sent me the message the other day. It was about 4 days ago. He sent it to me on the Facebook fan page, and I thought I'd keep it for the podcast today and read it out to you. It just says, well, he sent it to me at night time. It says, "Evening, Matthew. Been following your channel from 2018. Glad to hear you're on the mend again. Fingers crossed you're back to full health soon. I'm not normally one who likes to contact people, but felt like this was the moment." And I wrote LOL. "Love your podcasts and videos. You've got a lovely little family, and what you do gets me through life a lot happier than before I started watching and obviously listening as well. Thanks for everything. Keep up the good work, and sending my love from my family to yours. All the best, and hopefully bump into you sometime at home here in Northern Ireland or at Anfield. Take care, Matt." This is obviously Matt from Carrickfergus. Matt, thank you very much for your message. I really appreciate it. Obviously a big Liverpool fan. I do appreciate, obviously, the message. It means a lot. Obviously you're a big Liverpool fan, so I'll try and if I ever run into you, I'll obviously have a proper chat with you face to face. But thanks for it there. I do appreciate it. I got another one here from on the Facebook fan page the other night as well, from Lisa, a girl called Lisa. She's actually from England. Now, she doesn't say whereabouts she is, but she's talking about the cost of living crisis as well, and part of her email as well. But I'll read out the part that she wants to talk about here on the podcast. She just wants to know if I had any DIY tips. Her name, Lisa Bordlin, her name was. And she wanted to know if I had any DIY tips for her new home. And then she goes in to talk about the cost of living crisis, saying that, for what I can see here, she says that the rent has been up £100. The electricity and gas has went up, and she's struggling to obviously get by. She's working overtime to pay her bills, etc. So DIY tips, well, it depends obviously what do you want to do. I mean, I've just recently finished completely changing my whole kitchen, which I'm going to show in my vlog in the next few days. I actually had a new floor fitted there. What day are we on today? Tuesday. They came yesterday, Monday, and fitted my new kitchen floor, finally. Looks the part. Just need to get some bits and pieces put up on the wall, and a few wee odds and ends here and there as well. And that's pretty much my kitchen fixed. And then I'm moving into the living room next to get a fresh coat of paint on the walls that are painted, fresh coat of paint on the ceiling. Obviously all the skirting boards and doors and stuff repainted again for whatnot, and maybe a wee change of bits and pieces as well. I'm actually considering changing my sofa as well in the new year, because I feel that this sofa is a bit too big for this sort of living room area, and I'm thinking about changing it all up again, making it a bit more sort of, how can I put it, a bit more, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but yeah, the sofa's sort of like a wee bit too big, and it's kind of doing my head in now, to be honest. But I've had it 3 years now, so I think I might just change that too as well. But DIY tips, I mean, all I can say to you is, I mean, there's a couple of wee things that I've done around my home over the years where I've just been on and found tutorials how to do different things. There's a lot of Facebook pages there, and it's, what do you call that app? It's Pinterest, I think it's called, or whatever it's called. It was Sandra who brought it to my attention a few years ago. They're really, really good for DIY tips as well. They give you all these wee sort of ideas and things you could do, and turn certain things from nothing into things for your home, and, you know, how to save a bit of money here and there, and just all wee different things like that there. So I think it's Pinterest. Is it Pinterest? I think I looked at it once or twice and then I never used it again. So that would be obviously what I would recommend for you to do, and hopefully you get your new place sorted out. And looking forward. Obviously, if you can send me a couple of wee photos then and now, I would like to see what you're doing, the work you're doing, because obviously I like seeing places being transformed and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to see that there. But thanks for your message. I do appreciate it. It means a lot. Okay, here's another one from a local person here in Northern Ireland. It's Robert from Dungannon, wants to know, Matthew, are you on the dating scene right now? Are you seeing someone new? If so, spill the beans. We'd all love to know. Honestly, no, I'm not. I'm still on my own. I've no intentions. I think I said this before in the podcast a few weeks ago. I've absolutely no intentions of going anywhere at the moment, and I am literally still on my own. I've been on my own now for about 6 months, and it's just, no, I have no interest, to be honest with you. So, no interest at all. And it's just, I've had a few, even my own personal friends say to me, to get back out on the dating scene. I have absolutely no interest whatsoever. And, you know, people will obviously look at me, even my brothers even saying to me, get out and start dating again. No interest at all. Still on my own. That's the intentions moving forward. I have absolutely no interest. I've just come out, as you all know, of a relationship that was really, really hard. Still find it hard to this day, obviously trying to adapt, but again, I'm just no interest at all. So thanks for your question. I obviously hope to be in Dungannon sometime soon for football, because I have a lot of good friends down in Dungannon who work for Dungannon Swifts, and obviously fans and supporters and stuff. So nice place in the world too as well. Lovely places, and they've had a bit of work done down there to the ground as well recently. They had a new pitch and all put in, so look forward to heading down there. But yeah, to answer your question, no, I have absolutely no interest whatsoever. I am on my own, and that's the way it's going to be for now, because I have no interest at all even looking, or remotely even looking anywhere else, because at the end of the day, as I said these before, I even said on the ASAP podcast that was on in August, that recent breakup really knocked me for six, and no, I just don't want to go anywhere else, because I've no intentions to. So that's the answer to your question. So sorry to sound a bit down, but that's just the way I am right now, and I have just no intentions of even looking or going anywhere else between now and the foreseeable future. I am currently on my own, and that's the way it's going to be. Okay, I've got a question here from Michael on the email, mirrorarmypodcast@yahoo.com, wants to know what I think of Logan Paul's performance this past weekend at WWE Crown Jewel, and what's your view on YouTubers getting involved in sports, like for example his brother fighting in boxing, and other YouTubers getting involved in sports that they're not obviously being fond of being in. Okay, well, to be honest with you, I actually thought Logan I wasn't really a big fan of the Paul brothers, to be honest. Now Lewis and I sat up and watched the Jake Paul boxing fight, which I thought was alright. Wasn't great, but to watch Logan at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Lewis and I didn't get to see it until we come back home on Saturday night because it was an early start because of the time difference in Saudi Arabia. But Lewis and I sat and watched that match. It actually wasn't bad. It was a good fight. So it was. Logan done okay. Personally, I'm not a big fan of theirs. But again, to answer your question as well about YouTubers getting involved in sports, I mean, you see all these boys, like Lewis brought my attention a couple of years ago about these boys, is it Sidemen or something they're called, and they had this big football match as well, and my views on YouTubers wanting to get involved in sport and stuff like that, that's not obviously, part of their, whatever it is they do. At the end of the day, guys, there's people out there who are YouTubers, and they're very talented with sports, whether it be, football, wrestling, rugby, boxing, whatever it is. I've seen a lot of people out there who make a very good living because of sport and YouTube. It's just, if they're good at it and they're passionate about it and they're not just there for their own self-gain, and they're therefore to contribute to the sport in a proper professional manner, then certainly go ahead and do that. But then you do get these people who like, I know I can do this and that there, and then they make an absolute fool out of themselves. But again, with me being a big WWE fan for over, I don't know, many years it's been now, God, since I was like 5-year-old, these outsiders coming in, don't get me wrong, WWE's always brought celebrities in over the years, for years and years and years, especially at their big show every year, WrestleMania as well. But at the end of the day, if they're capable enough and they're willing to put the work in and they're willing to contribute to the sport and not to just for their own self-ego, then fair play to them. But my thoughts on his performance this past weekend, I actually thought he'd done okay. And then it's the funny spot where he's on top of the rope on his phone videoing and jumping off the rope while he was videoing for YouTube or whatever else platform he was on at the time. But he's put the work in, and he's been training hard, and he's been, people have been training him behind the scenes and stuff as well. So, my thoughts on it, I thought the match was very, very good. I did tell Lewis he wasn't going to win the world title, even though he was in the world title fight. That really annoyed me, though, the fact that he was getting a world title shot when there's guys who've been there for years and years and years and years and years and years, traveling all around the world every day, every week, and they don't get that opportunity, and he walks straight in. Okay, it's obviously for business because it's putting more eyeballs on the product, which I understand. But on that side of it, it's kind of annoying because I feel sorry for the guys who are there every week and busting their ass and don't get that opportunity. Just walking in the door because they're a big name online or they're a celebrity or whatever, just walking straight in. That kind of annoys me in the way of it as well. Because I know if I was like, say, for example, a footballer or a wrestler or whatever, and somebody else just walked in and got put straight in front of me, even though I know I'm as good as him or even better than him, but because he or she's well known, that would really annoy me. But again, you got to think about the business, you got to think about if it's a football club or whatever. You could talk about it all day, but I thought his performance was okay, and it was a good fight, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it with Lewis last Saturday, and I actually enjoyed it. Right, guys, I'm going to head on down the road here now, because as I said, you got to go in here and get ready for football and stuff, so this podcast could actually be released after I get home. I'm not too sure, because time's running a bit sort of with me at the minute, but if it is released beforehand, then I'll obviously speak to you when I'll get it out before I go to the football tonight, but I'm going to head down the road here now. Once again, guys, it's a bit of a shorter podcast. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. On this Thursday's podcast, I'm going to have a bit more to talk about. We'll obviously talk about our Liverpool trip. We'll talk about different bits and pieces that are going on in the news right now. Because I want to talk about this week about the US presidency. Because I heard yesterday that Donald Trump apparently is going to be running again. So I want to have a lot of thoughts on that, especially about sleepy Joe Biden. Guys, you don't want to miss this podcast on Thursday, trust me. I'm going to have a lot to say about Joe Biden. I want to talk about, obviously, these protesters that I was going to try and talk about today on the podcast, but I've just decided I'm going to change it now and talk about it on Thursday. These protesters at the minute on the news are just driving my gears, and they're making my teeth itch, and they're making me cross. The way they're going around, and they're like, putting on the puppy tears. It's just ridiculous, And we'll talk about that on Thursday's podcast, and we'll talk about our different things as well. So, yeah, it's a bit of a shorter one, so bear with me. I'm going to go out and get ready for football here in Ballyclare tonight. But anyway, guys, once again, before I go, if you want to contact us here on the podcast for Thursday or any of our future podcasts, any subjects at all you want to talk about here on the podcast, or any questions, contact me, morearmypodcast@yahoo.com. Don't forget to follow us on our Moor Army YouTube channel, which is all the main channel for the Moor Army. We can watch all our daily vlogs, match reaction videos, and more. Moor Army YouTube channel. Also, Lewis's channel. I told him I'll give him our shout out again. Lewis Moor's gaming channel on there. Lewis Moor, just search that on. It's Luis, by the way, for Lewis on YouTube. Redmond Football Ventures, guys. I talk about that actually on the vlogs coming up today, because I'll give you a bit of an update on that channel. So check out the recent vlog. I'll talk about that on there too as well. And also, if you want to go to the Moor Army website for all your merch, all the social media stuff, it's like a Moor Army hub, moorarmy.co.uk. Fucking hell. So, guys, I want to go. So, until Thursday's podcast, thank you for all your support. Love you all. Appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. I'm going to go here now, get a shave and a shower, and head down the road here to Ballyclare. The joys of a Tuesday night, and then off to Liverpool tomorrow. Happy days. Right, guys, until the next one, keep yourself safe out there. Thanks for all your support. And until Thursday, I'll see you all then. Thanks for listening, guys.